Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. We're going to be using excerpts from the Fluent English Podcast to explore health and wellness today.
Yeah, it's such an important topic.
It is. And, we talk about it all the time, but we often just kind of take our health for granted, right?
Right.
Until something goes wrong and then we're like, oh, wait a minute, I should have been taking care of myself all along.
Exactly. It's much easier to maintain good health than it is to regain it once it's gone.
Yeah, so true. So before we jump into all the amazing insights from these excerpts, let's take a step back, okay?
Okay.
What do we even mean when we say health?
Yeah, that's a great question because, a lot of people think health just means not being sick.
Right, the absence of disease or something.
Exactly, but it's so much more than that.
It is.
The excerpts actually highlight this really well. They emphasize that it's about holistic well-being.
Holistic well-being, okay?
Yeah, so it's not just about your physical body. It's about your mental, emotional, and even social health.
I like the taking a more holistic approach.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that all these different aspects of ourselves are interconnected. They all influence each other.
That makes a lot of sense.
All right.
So where do we even begin with this whole holistic health thing?
Well, the excerpts really emphasize the power of nutrition.
Oh, nutrition, okay.
Yeah, but I know sometimes when people start talking about balanced diets and stuff, it's easy to just kind of tune it out, right?
Yeah, it can get a little bit preachy sometimes, you know what I mean?
I totally get it. But what I found fascinating here was how they break down the specific roles of different nutrients, in our everyday lives.
Okay, that's interesting.
For example, protein.
Protein, yeah.
Did you know that it can actually help reduce cravings and keep you feeling full for longer?
Really?
Yeah. It's because protein takes longer to digest than carbs, so it helps stabilize your blood sugar levels and prevents those energy crashes.
That makes sense, because I'm always starving an hour after I have a big pasta lunch.
Exactly. And speaking of carbs,
Carbs?
they're not the enemy that they're often made out to be.
I know people are always like, carbs are bad, carbs are bad.
Right, but they get a bad rap. Your brain actually runs on glucose, which comes from carbs.
Oh, that's right.
So you know that foggy feeling you get when you skip breakfast?
Yeah.
That's your brain basically saying, hey, I needed some fuel here.
Oh, wow. So I actually need carbs to think straight.
You got it.
Okay, so we've got protein for feeling full and satisfied, carbs for brain power.
Yeah.
What about fats?
Fats, the often misunderstood macronutrient.
Are they good or bad? I can never keep it straight.
Well, the key here is to remember that not all fats are created equal.
Right. I've heard of good fats and bad fats.
Exactly. And these excerpts highlight the importance of those healthy fats, for brain function, hormone production, and even protecting your organs.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize they did so much.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing. Think avocados, nuts, olive oil. Those are your friends.
Okay, so it sounds like a balanced diet isn't about depriving yourself or anything.
Yep.
It's more about making sure you're getting the right types of nutrients to support your body's needs.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about fueling our bodies now.
Yes.
What about putting that fuel to work?
Yeah.
I'm guessing exercise is next on the list.
You guessed it. The excerpts make a really compelling case for regular exercise and not just for the physical benefits either.
Okay, yeah, I have to admit, sometimes I struggle with exercise. I don't always feel motivated.
I hear you, but what if you could find activities that you actually enjoyed?
Oh, like fun exercise.
Exactly. That's what the excerpts emphasize, finding movement that feels good for you, whether it's dancing, hiking, swimming, or even just taking a brisk walk in nature.
Okay, I can get behind that because
Yeah.
I've always loved dancing, but I never thought of it as a real workout.
It totally counts, and that's the beauty of it, When you find something you enjoy, it stops feeling like a chore and becomes something you actually look forward to.
Yeah, that's so true.
And the benefits go way beyond just the physical, When you move your body regularly, you're reducing stress, boosting your mood, and even protecting yourself from chronic diseases down the line.
Wow, so it's like a win-win situation.
Exactly. It's an investment in your present and future well-being.
Okay. I'm convinced I need to find some more fun ways to move my body.
Awesome.
So we've got the fuel, we're moving our bodies. What's the next piece of this well-being puzzle?
Well, fueling your body is essential, but it's only one piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
Let's talk about how moving your body can impact your overall well-being,
Yeah, that makes sense. And speaking of energy, it makes me think about sleep,
Oh, sleep, yes.
which the Fluent English Podcast excerpts actually call it the nightly reset button for our bodies.
I love that analogy.
It's a good one, right? I get that sleep is important, but I'm the kind of person who feels most creative late at night.
Oh, yeah.
So is it really that bad to sacrifice a little sleep if I'm getting more done?
That's a great question, and it's a common struggle in our always-on culture.
It is.
And while you might feel more productive late at night, consistently shortchanging your sleep is like running your phone on low battery all the time, Eventually, your performance will suffer, and your health could pay the price.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And what's fascinating is that during deep sleep, your body is hard at work repairing tissues, releasing growth hormone, and consolidating memories.
Oh, wow.
It's like the ultimate overnight rejuvenation for your mind and body.
Okay, you've convinced me. Deep sleep sounds pretty amazing,
It is.
but I've always struggled with creating a consistent sleep schedule.
Yeah, that can be tough.
Yeah.
But the excerpts offer some great practical tips,
Okay, like what?
like sticking to a consistent sleep schedule even on weekends, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, and ensuring your bedroom is cool, dark, and quiet.
These are all good reminders.
Yeah, little things can make a big difference.
They can. And speaking of feeling rested and recharged, it makes me think about another crucial aspect of well-being that I feel like often gets overlooked.
Yeah, what's that?
Mental health.
Absolutely.
The excerpts make a really compelling case for why it's just as vital as physical health.
It is. And in fact, they highlight the deep connection between the two,
Oh, in what way?
For instance, chronic stress can actually wreak havoc on your gut health, leading to digestive issues.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
So my anxiety could actually be impacting my digestion.
That's wild, right?
That's wild. I never realized how closely those two were linked.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And it goes both ways, too.
Oh, how so?
When your gut is healthy, it can positively influence your mental state. But that's a conversation for part 2.
Okay, I'll have to save that.
For now, let's focus on some simple strategies for managing mental well-being.
Yeah, let's dive into that. What are some practical things we can do to prioritize our mental health?
Well, the excerpts emphasize the importance of practices like mindfulness,
Mindfulness.
which involves paying attention to the present moment without judgment.
Right.
Even just a few minutes of deep breathing or focusing on your senses can help you calm down when you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed.
I've tried meditation before, but I always feel like I'm doing it wrong.
It's not about being perfect, It's about finding what works for you.
Yeah.
Mindfulness can be as simple as taking a few moments to notice the sensations of your breath or appreciating the beauty of nature.
That sounds much more approachable.
Yeah, just finding those little moments of stillness throughout your day.
I can definitely try that.
Yeah.
But beyond mindfulness, what are some other things we can do to cultivate good mental health?
Nurturing strong social connections is key,
Social connections, yeah.
Spending time with loved ones, engaging in meaningful conversations, and building a supportive network can make a world of difference.
That's true. It's easy to isolate yourself, especially these days.
It is, and don't underestimate the power of helping others either.
Helping others, okay.
Volunteering or even just lending a hand to a friend can boost your mood and give you a sense of purpose.
That's a great reminder. I always feel better after spending time with friends or doing something kind for someone else.
It's like an instant mood booster.
It is. But let's be real. Building all these healthy habits can feel overwhelming sometimes.
Absolutely. But the good news is you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Okay, that's reassuring.
The excerpts highlight the power of starting small and focusing on consistency.
Okay, I'm all about small steps.
Yeah.
What are some examples of small changes we can make that can have a big impact over time?
Think about simple swaps, like choosing fruit instead of a sugary snack,
Okay.
taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or adding a 10-minute walk to your day.
Yeah.
It might seem small, but these little changes can snowball into something much bigger.
I love that. It's not about being perfect. It's about making small, sustainable changes that add up over time.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection.
I like that. Once we've got those healthy habits rolling, how do we make sure we're staying on track for the long haul?
That's where preventative health comes in, thinking about your well-being as an ongoing investment.
So it's not just about putting out fires when they rise. It's about preventing those fires in the first place.
Exactly. And that involves things like routine checkups, screenings, and vaccinations. Think of it like a tune-up for your body. Catching small issues early can prevent them from becoming major problems down the road.
That makes sense. So preventative care is about being proactive with our health, but it's also about making those everyday choices that support our well-being in the long run right.
You got it. It all ties back to those healthy habits we discussed earlier: eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly, managing stress, getting enough sleep. These are all powerful preventative measures.
It's amazing how it all connects.
It is, right?
So we've got our nutrition, our movement, our sleep, our mental health, and our preventative care in check. What's next on this health journey?
Well, as we move through life, our bodies naturally change, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about aging gracefully and how we can maintain our health and vitality through every stage.
Aging is a topic that often gets shrouded in negativity.
It does.
But I'm excited to hear how we can approach it proactively.
Me too, and we'll dive into all of that in part 2.
Okay, can't wait. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about aging gracefully, which, to be honest, can feel a little daunting sometimes.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. We often associate aging with decline, right? Like it's all downhill from here.
Right.
But what if we reframed it as a process of evolution? It's not about fearing the turning of the page. It's about adapting and thriving through each chapter.
I love that shift in perspective.
Yeah.
But it's hard to ignore the physical changes that come with age.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Our bodies do change, but the Fluent English Podcast excerpts, they highlight the power we have to stay active and vibrant.
Okay. In what way?
Well, for instance, as we age, we might shift our exercise routine to focus more on strength training, flexibility, and balance.
That makes sense. Strong muscles and good balance are crucial for preventing falls and just like maintaining mobility as we get older.
Exactly. It's about adapting our workouts to support our changing needs.
Okay, so it's about adapting our workouts.
Yes.
What about keeping our minds sharp? Is that something we can influence as we get older?
The great news is that staying mentally engaged can make a huge difference. The excerpts suggest activities like reading puzzles, learning new skills, and staying socially connected. All these things can help maintain cognitive function.
Oh, wow.
Think of it like a workout for your brain.
So just as we adapt our physical exercise routines, we can adapt our mental workouts as well.
Exactly.
I love that. It's empowering to know that we're not just passive passengers on this aging journey.
We're not. We have more control than we often realize.
We do, okay, but before we move on from the idea of like changes within our bodies, right?
Yeah.
I think it's time we address that fascinating connection between gut health and mental well-being.
Oh, yes.
That we hinted at earlier.
Like it.
Okay, gut health. It's not exactly the most glamorous topic, but I have a feeling this is where things get really interesting.
You got it. For a long time, we thought of the gut as just this separate system responsible for digestion, you know?
Right.
But emerging research is revealing a much more complex and interconnected picture. It turns out our gut is home to trillions of bacteria.
Trillions?
Trillions.
Wow, that's a lot of roommates.
It is. Collectively, they're known as the gut microbiome.
The gut microbiome. Okay, so what are they all doing down there besides breaking down food?
Well, these bacteria, they're not just passive passengers. They're actively communicating with your brain, influencing everything from mood to immunity.
Really?
Yeah. For example, did you know that a significant portion of serotonin, the neurotransmitter responsible for feelings of happiness, is actually produced in the gut?
No way.
Right.
So you're telling me my happiness is partially dependent on the bacteria in my gut.
It is pretty remarkable. And it's not just serotonin. These gut bacteria produce a whole range of neurochemicals that can impact your mood, your focus, and even your sleep.
Wow. So if our gut bacteria are out of balance, could that contribute to mood disorders like anxiety and depression?
That's exactly what some studies are suggesting. There's growing evidence that imbalances in the gut microbiome might play a role in a range of mental health conditions.
This is blowing my mind. So what can we do to nurture a healthy gut microbiome? Maybe even boost our mental well-being in the process.
The key is to feed the good bacteria in your gut. A diet rich in fiber from fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes is like a feast for those beneficial bacteria.
So it all comes back to that balanced diet we talked about earlier.
It does. It's amazing how everything seems to be connected.
It really is. And just as important as what you eat is what you avoid, right?
Right.
Processed foods, sugary drinks, excessive alcohol,
Yeah.
those can disrupt the balance of our gut microbiome.
They can allowing harmful bacteria to take over.
Got it. So fiber is in, processed junk is out.
Yeah.
What else could we do to support our gut health? The excerpts mentioned fermented foods, and I have to admit, they always intimidated me a little.
I get it. But fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, they might sound a little monkey,
Yeah.
but they actually contain live beneficial bacteria that can help diversify and strengthen your gut microbiome. They're a delicious way to give your gut a boost.
I actually love sauerkraut. Who knew it was doing my brain a favor?
See? And don't underestimate the power of stress management either.
All right.
Chronic stress can disrupt the delicate balance of bacteria in your gut. So all those stress-busting techniques we discussed earlier, mindfulness exercise, getting enough sleep, those can also benefit your gut.
Wow. It really is all connected. Taking care of our mental well-being directly impacts our gut health, which in turn impacts our mental state. It's a powerful cycle.
It is. And the more we understand these connections, the more empowered we become to take charge of our health in a holistic way.
That's so true.
Now, there's one more piece of this gut health puzzle we should discuss: probiotics.
Probiotics, okay. Those are the live bacteria you can take in supplement form, right?
Right.
We all be adding them to our routines.
It's not quite that simple. While probiotics can be helpful for some people, the research is still evolving.
Okay.
There are many different strains of bacteria, each with varying effects, so it's best to talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian to see if probiotics are right for you and to determine which strains might be most beneficial.
That's great advice. It's always best to get personalized guidance from a healthcare professional. Speaking of interconnectedness, what other surprising links does the research highlight?
Well, let's talk about inflammation.
Inflammation, okay.
Your body's natural response to injury or infection.
Right. It's like our body's alarm system.
Exactly, letting us know something's wrong.
But I've heard that chronic inflammation can be a problem.
You're absolutely right. When inflammation becomes chronic, it can contribute to a whole host of health problems, including heart disease, diabetes, and even certain types of cancer.
Oh, wow. So how does this tie back to the gut?
Well, it turns out that an imbalanced gut microbiome can actually trigger chronic inflammation throughout the body.
Wait, so the bacteria in our gut can influence inflammation levels in other parts of our body?
It might sound surprising, but it's true. When your gut microbiome is out of whack, harmful bacteria can release toxins that irritate the gut lining, leading to inflammation. And that inflammation can then spread to other parts of the body, increasing the risk of those chronic diseases we talked about.
It all comes back to the gut. It's like the command center for our overall well-being.
It's a powerful reminder that health truly is holistic.
It is.
Everything is interconnected, and taking care of one aspect of our health can have ripple effects throughout our entire system.
Okay, this has been incredibly insightful. But I have to admit, in this modern world, there's one thing that constantly challenges my healthy habits, my relationship with technology.
Ah, yes, the digital age. It's given us so much, but it also presents us with some unique challenges when it comes to well-being.
Like what?
Well, think about the constant barrage of information and notifications you're exposed to every day. Our brains aren't wired to process this much stimulation all the time.
Right.
It can lead to feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and constantly on edge.
It's so true. I feel like I'm constantly bombarded with emails, texts, social media updates. It's exhausting. And sometimes it feels like I can't escape it.
And it's not just the mental and emotional toll. Excessive screen time can also disrupt your sleep, interfere with face-to-face social interactions, and even contribute to physical health problems like eye strain, headaches, and neck pain.
I've definitely noticed that my sleep suffers when I spend too much time scrolling on my phone before bed.
Yeah.
Is that because of the blue light everyone talks about?
Exactly. The blue light emitted from electronic devices can suppress melatonin production, the hormone that regulates your sleep-wake cycle.
Okay, so what can we do about it? Should we all ditch our smartphones and move to a remote cabin in the woods?
That's one way to do it, but realistically, technology is deeply integrated into our lives, so it's about finding a healthy balance and being more mindful of your technology use.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we find that balance? I feel like I'm constantly tethered to my devices.
Start by paying attention to how much time you're spending on your devices and how it's making you feel. Are you checking your phone out of habit, or are you genuinely engaged with something? Ask yourself if it's adding value to your life or just draining your energy.
That's a great point. I know I'm definitely guilty of mindless scrolling sometimes.
We all are. It's about becoming more intentional with your technology use and setting boundaries.
Like what kind of boundaries?
Try designating certain times of day as tech-free zones, maybe meal times an hour before bed, or even just a few minutes each day to unplug and reconnect with yourself.
I love that idea. Creating space for stillness and disconnecting from the digital world sounds so refreshing.
It is, and remember, technology is a tool. It can be incredibly helpful and enriching, but it can also be detrimental if we let it control our lives.
We need to be the ones in control, not our devices.
Exactly. Take charge of your technology use and make it work for you, not against you. And don't forget that technology can also be a powerful tool for supporting your well-being.
Oh, that's right. There are tons of health and fitness apps that can help us stay motivated. And social media can be great for connecting with like-minded people and finding support.
Absolutely. It's about using technology mindfully and harnessing its power for good. Don't be afraid to embrace technology, but do so with awareness and intention.
I love that approach.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up part 2, I think it's important to zoom out for a moment and acknowledge that health is not one size fits all.
I couldn't agree more. What works for one person may not work for another. We all have unique bodies, lifestyles, and health goals.
And there's no such thing as perfect health, right?
Right.
It's a journey of continuous learning, experimenting, and adaptation.
I love that perspective. It takes the pressure off striving for some unattainable ideal and allows us to approach health with curiosity and compassion.
It's about finding what works best for you and honoring your individual needs.
Exactly. And remember, health is not just about the absence of disease.
Right.
It's about feeling vibrant, energized, and connected to your body and mind.
It's about living life to the fullest.
Precisely so. Embrace the journey experiment and don't be afraid to ask for support along the way. We'll be back with part 3 to explore that idea of resilience and how to navigate life's ups and downs. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to your deep dive into health and wellness. It's amazing how much we've uncovered already, from gut health to our relationship with technology in today's world. It's like a whole new layer of well-being.
It really is fascinating. And, as we wrap up this deep dive, I think it's important to talk about those inner resources that help us deal with the curveballs life throws at us.
You're talking about resilience, right?
Yeah.
That ability to kind of bounce back from setbacks.
Exactly.
Okay. Because I have to admit, some days I feel more like a delicate little flower than a sturdy oak tree. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think we've all been there. But, building resilience isn't about becoming invincible to stress or hardship.
Right.
It's about developing the tools and the mindset to adapt and grow from those experiences.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do we actually, build resilience? Where do we even begin?
Well, the Fluent English Podcast excerpts suggest that it starts with cultivating a more positive mindset.
A positive mindset.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean ignoring the negative or pretending like everything's perfect.
Right.
It's about consciously choosing to focus on the good, even amidst challenges.
I love that it's like shifting your perspective to find those glimmers of hope even when things are tough.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful tools for cultivating positivity is gratitude.
Gratitude, okay.
Taking just a few moments each day to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how big or small, can really shift your whole outlook.
I've heard of gratitude journals where you write down things you're thankful for. Does that actually work?
It can be incredibly effective. The simple act of acknowledging the good can actually rewire your brain to focus on the positive more naturally, and doesn't have to be a formal journal entry,
Okay.
You can simply make a mental note of things you appreciate throughout the day. Maybe it's the taste of your morning coffee, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or a kind word from a friend.
Those are great examples. I'm definitely going to try incorporating more gratitude into my daily routine.
Awesome.
But beyond gratitude, what else can we do to strengthen our resilience muscles?
Well, nurturing strong social connections is another key ingredient.
Social connections, okay.
Having a supportive network of friends, family, or community members can provide a buffer against stress and help you navigate tough times.
It makes sense. We're social creatures by nature, and knowing you have people you can lean on can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. And it's not just about receiving support, it's also about giving it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Helping others, whether it's volunteering your time or lending a listening ear to a friend, can boost your own sense of purpose and well-being.
So gratitude, social connections, and helping others, those are all great long-term strategies for building resilience.
They are.
But what about those moments when we're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, like in the heat of the moment? Are there any quick tips we can use to regain our equilibrium?
Mindfulness practices can be incredibly helpful in those situations.
Mindfulness, okay.
Taking a few deep breaths, focusing on the present moment, and observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment can create a little space between you and your reaction, allowing you to respond more skillfully. I love that hitting the pause button and giving yourself a moment to breathe before reacting it sounds so simple, yet so powerful.
It really is. And mindfulness doesn't have to be a formal meditation practice.
Right?
It can be as simple as taking a few minutes to focus on the sensations of your breath, listening to the sounds around you, or engaging in a sensory activity like noticing the colors and textures of your surroundings.
Those are great tips.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember that building resilience is an ongoing process. It's not like a destination.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it's not something you achieve overnight and then you're done.
Exactly. It's about developing healthy coping mechanisms, practicing self-care, and learning from your experiences. And sometimes it's about recognizing when you need extra support and reaching out for professional help.
Right.
There's no shame in seeking guidance from a therapist, counselor, or other mental health professional. That's such an important reminder. Asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. It's a way of honoring your needs and prioritizing your well-being. Okay, so we've talked about resilience, but I think there's another piece of the puzzle that contributes to overall well-being, finding purpose and meaning in life.
That's a great point. Having a sense of purpose can provide direction, motivation, and a sense of fulfillment. It can help you get through difficult times and give your life a deeper sense of meaning.
But how do we find our purpose? Is it something we're born with, or is it something we discover along the way?
I think it's a bit of both. Some people might have a clear sense of purpose from a young age, while others might discover it later in life. And sometimes our sense of purpose evolves as we grow and change. The key is to stay open to exploration.
So it's not about finding the one perfect purpose, but rather about exploring our interests, values, and passions and seeing where they lead us.
Exactly. It's about experimenting, trying new things, and following your curiosity. And sometimes it's about simplifying and focusing on what brings you joy, making that a priority in your life.
I love that. It's about aligning your actions with your values and living a life that feels authentic and meaningful to you.
Precisely. And remember, purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It can be as simple as making a difference in your own community, bringing joy to the people you love, or pursuing a hobby that sets your soul on fire.
Well, as we wrap up this incredible deep dive into health and wellness, I'm feeling inspired and empowered to take charge of my own well-being.
Me too. It's been an amazing journey, and I hope you feel the same way.
Absolutely. We've covered so much ground, from the fundamentals of nutrition and exercise to the power of sleep, mental health, gut health, mindful technology, use resilience, and finding purpose. It's been a whirlwind of insights and practical tips.
And remember, this is just the beginning. Health is a lifelong journey of learning, growing, and adapting.
Exactly. So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep taking care of yourself. Your well-being is an investment worth making.
It truly is, and we're here to support you every step of the way.
That's a wrap on this deep dive into health and wellness. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and feel inspired to prioritize your well-being. Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep thriving.